Welcome to the Man Dem Podcast. This is a tribute episode of the Man Dem Podcast. This is your boy Sincere. To my left.
Yeah, this is Twist. We're going to get into some stuff that needs to be spoken about, some real heavy and heartbreaking things. And who we got across from me?
Well, we got Showtime across to you, and to my right we got Mr. Cujo Canuck. But let's get right into it, man. Salute to the 10 victims of the van attack that happened on the 23rd. You know what I'm saying? It's a real interesting time to be in the city. One of the reasons why you're able to appreciate Toronto when you look at other things going on in the world is because you get to be like, yo, that kind of stuff doesn't happen in my city. And on that day, I could honestly say that a lot of us were caught by surprise. You know what I'm saying? Just with the randomness of the actions. Extremely pointless. And really left the city in a very awkward, unfamiliar place. Because I feel like it's something that, as much as we've seen it around the world, it just isn't something that we're used to happening in the city of Toronto. So I definitely want to start out by shouting out each and every one of the victims. And forgive me if I'm pronouncing these names wrong. You know, some of them I've not come across in my years of journalism and all that. So, bear with me. Budis Renuka Emerson Singer, 45 of Toronto. Andrea Braden, 33 of Woodbridge, Ontario. Geraldine Brady, 83 of Toronto. Soyi Chung, 22 of Toronto. And Marie D'Amico, 30 of Toronto. Mary Elizabeth, Betty nickname, Forsyth, 94 of Toronto. Cho Min, Eddie, preferred name Kang, 45 of Toronto. Ji Hun Kim, 22 of Toronto. Munir Abdul Habib Najjar, 85 of Toronto. And Dorothy Sewell, 80 of Toronto. These are the 10 victims who woke that day, whether that was to be to drop their kids off at daycare, whether they were going to an afternoon shift on a job, whether they were on a lunch break and just told a colleague 8-10 minutes before that, I'm gonna go grab something quick to bite, grab something quick to eat, grab a quick bite, and I'll be back. And unfortunately never made it back. It's weird, man, and I tell people all the time is that you got to be honest with yourself and just know that, like for me personally, just speaking for myself, is that I've been to way more funerals than I have weddings, so death is something that doesn't really bother me itself because I'm desensitized to that. Like, even when you have friends that decide to grow up in the streets and shit, like they already know the consequences and the risk versus the reward. So when your dudes die in some kind of street shit, street politics and just block geography, you're okay with that because it's based off of how they live their life, whatever their financial goals were, whatever. Like, you just want to make sure that dude went out like a Jeep. You know what I mean? That there was no smears on nothing or whatever. Like, that's what was important to them, right? Just decided to go out to the block. But when you grow up on the block too, like the loss of innocent life, that's nothing that no dude from no part of no borough or nothing like that's gonna be on some some soft nigga shit. I don't want to hear that, man. Like, you can tell you on the block, no women, no kids, none of that. But it's innocent life all in itself, and that shit really and truly bothered me that day. Cause I couldn't make sense of it. I don't know what kind of personal troubles goes within somebody, but just the respect for Toronto itself should not bring anybody to want to do anything of the sort. And just so many people got desensitized in that one moment. People standing across the street, people that jumped out of the way, whatever it is, it's something that a lot of people will never be the same from again. And I think that's what the part that bothers me the most. Because I know what it's like to be desensitized from shit because I seen death. So death is not what's bothering me, it's the innocent life. It's a 94-year-old grandma. I mean, it's someone dying at 22. I was 22, I think it was 12 years ago. 22 is young. You understand what I'm saying? So my deepest condolences, rest in peace. I mean, I do this podcast with a very heavy heart, you know, because this is something that personally affected me, just because, not of the fact that I didn't know any of the 10 victims personally, but, you know, I know them through the bond and the love and appreciation and the trust we have in calling the city of Toronto our home. And, you know, they need to know that they still need to trust in the city, because I don't think their lives go in vain, not in this situation. Like, you know, there's a vigil going on, you know what I mean, at Melasson Square. You know, those lives are being celebrated, and, you know, like, they're being given proper send-off. So salute and rest in peace.
Rest in peace to the victims that Showtime mentioned not too long ago. That was a very sad and disgusting day at the same time, because I never in my wildest dreams would have thought something like that would happen in the city. You always have to be on your P's and Q's and aware of things, but I never thought something like that would happen. And to put it in perspective too, one of my very close friends, one of my best friends, Lons, he actually works in the area, and he notified me about what happened, because his building was under lockdown when it happened, and it was literally across the street. Like, he could see what's going on from his window, and it made me worried and concerned, and it put everything in perspective, because he could have been going out for a lunch, or he could have just been going to his car, or anything like that. He could have been running an errand, and that could have been him too as well. So that gave me such a heavy heart, and it's disgusting, but we're trying to stay strong for the city of Toronto. A lot of people rallied behind this after this horrendous act. Shouts to everybody raising money, putting flowers and messages to the victims, and we're still trying to go forward as a city and not let this define us. So, you know, rest in peace. It's a sad moment, but this will make us all stronger at the end of the day.
Yeah, like I've been thinking about this, ever since it happened. Just been weighing heavy on me, like I know it has for most, not just Torontonians, but most Canadians. You see things like this on the news, international news, the U.S. States, wherever it had to be. You know, it seems like a common reoccurrence there, but when it hits, close to home and the way stuff went down, no one deserves that. So to Show's point earlier, it's just the innocent loss of life. Like, people were just living their lives, doing their daily routines. No one knew that was going to be their last day, that they would get to say or talk to their loved ones, talk to their kids or whatever it had be. So that's what makes it even more, infuriating, really. Really, I have a heavy heart about this, and my heart really goes out to the 10 families affected by this, and everyone else that known the victims, and also the ones that are injured that are still fighting, But this is something that, never want to happen no matter where you live. But I don't think it's really going to unravel Toronto, with the whole hashtag Toronto Strong. I get that, but really we're a close-knit community, and it shows the love, the outpouring that everyone's getting and showing. To Sin's point, with the money that's being raised, and I know the number's just going to go up, just to kind of cover the costs for a family that might not be here, that have to kind of travel abroad and sort that thing out. But, in all of the darkness, there's always some light. Even if that light is far at the end of the tunnel. And I just think, as a fellow Torontonian and my brothers here at this table, I think we're going to come out on the other side of this stronger. Learn from it, confide in one another, and I just think it's just going to strengthen our community. So, you're never going to really forget this, where you were. I was actually doing laundry at the time when I heard about the news. I think I shrunk a few clothes by accident, because I legit had to stop what I was doing and just focus on the TV, because I'm like, this can't be, it seemed really surreal at the moment. But I guess no one's really exempt to this type of tragedy happening. It's a pity that it had to happen so close to home. And again, my hearts are with the 10 families and everybody that's doing what they can. You know, whether it's counseling, talking to people, grievance, taking time from work. It's all those baby steps that collectively that we're gonna move forward, I think.
I think what we gotta understand is that a lot more than 10 families were affected. Like, I know it's easy for us to say the 10 families, but what bothers me is that I understand the reach of this. Is that it's way larger than that.
Of course.
It's that, it's this happened around 1:30, they said, and at 2:00, because like anything happens, like my sister Samantha, whatever, like that's she's 1 year older than me, and no matter what it is, she'll always sit me up. So 2:00 in the morning, CP24. You know what I mean? Like someone in their late 20s, early 30s, they can't, you know what I mean? They don't know the range, someone got shot. Text message. Phone call. My sister's always checking in on me. So around 2:00, my sister said, "Yo, are you good?" Like, you're not by Yonge Finch, right? But I seen it, but they said like one person got hit at the time. So I was like, okay, it's a car accident. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I'm like, yeah, I'm good, sis. And then I kept watching it. And I'm like, nah, like this might be some deliberate, borderline, mass murder, terrorist shit. And I was told I shouldn't say that. I'm like, why? And it was because it's in Toronto. And I think at that point, we have to stop being so naive into what our perception of the city is and deal with the realities of the climate of race and just tension and just self-hate and anything that might be in regards to any mental illness in regard to the world. Like, it's not the same place we're growing up in. Raising kids in. So for me, from 2:00, I'd like say 2:20, after I identified what was really going on, after I knew that it was deliberate and shit, up until 5:00 in the morning, I did not sleep. And I think I smoked a quarter weed and an Appleton. I drank an Appleton to myself, but that for me is more or less asking myself the question as to why. Because I know for my family, again, everyone around this table could be different, and my mom didn't meet my dad in Jamaica. You know what I mean? Like, they're both from Jamaica, and they decided to pick up and decided to try to make a life and have a family and have a home in Canada, but more specifically Toronto, Ontario. So just the fact that loyalty to me is anything and everything above all is the fact that to know what the city of Toronto has been able to provide for my family, my mother, my father, my siblings, the kids, whatever it is, nieces, nephews. Like, the city is all about inclusion, and it gives everyone the right and the fair opportunity to do whatever you want. Like, however you decide to play those cards is on you, but like, let's be clear, like, Toronto was a laughing stock because Toronto, Ontario, and Canada, more specifically, is trying to advocate for gay rights way ahead of its time. And people are looking like, yo, what the fuck these guys trying to do? But now that shit's the norm. And that just goes to speak the values of Canada, is that they will try to do everything over and beyond. Especially Toronto is the most diverse definition of what Canada is supposed to be like. And that the inclusion's crazy, so you don't disrespect the city and try to do that. So maybe like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, I'm just trying to see who's online. I'm just sending random messages like, yo, did this really fucking happen? And why is it every time I think about this, like, I just feel like tears running down my face? You know what I mean? And like, no one had answers for me. That's kind of thing. I like to ask the right questions. So when I'm asking the question as to why, and no one has the answer, I feel like the only reason and the only times I wasn't thinking about that was when I was smoking. You know what I mean? And then maybe that's just a temporary escape and relief for me, but even like almost, a week plus past the situation, it still doesn't make any more sense to me now than it did then. And it's just because this understanding that the city, like, that has to be just in regards to like some kind of personal insecurities and stuff. But Toronto's done nothing to nobody. Like, you saw how that dude got crucified for dealing with Sammy Yatim the way he did. Like, we don't play that. It's not the States. This is not, no third world country where, you go out your house and people are blowing themselves up. Like, this is Toronto. And I say that because watching all those things since September 2001, as maybe accepting how messed up the world is, but on the flip side of that, give the appreciation for the city that I decided to call home. So, again, like my heart's heavy. I went down there and I dropped off some flowers and I dropped off a Bristol board that I marked up, and it's just crazy to know how many people are down there just to talk to people. Like, I was just there, I dropped off the flowers, I dropped off the card that I made, and I kind of just went down for a bit and said like a 1 minute prayer. 1 minute or maybe a little over a minute, I don't know. But as I got up, people just came up and started talking to me. They let me know they were across the street. Someone let me know they called in sick from work that day, that they might have been them. Like, it was crazy, the random conversations, and I just feel like people really down there to show their respects, but also too, but maybe because talking to a random stranger was their like coping mechanism or whatever it is. But it's good to not be in a city where people are stuck up. We're not making this a race thing or anything. I feel like it's crazy. And we can actually say this is an isolated incident, like gauging the severity of it, but we know this doesn't define Toronto. Like, not at all. Like, not for a second. Like, Toronto is a city you want to live in. Toronto is the safest place to raise your kids. Toronto is the safest place for, you're trying to get on your 2 feet, regarding employment. Like, it's a city of opportunity. So, my heart is heavy for all the people who are desensitized from the situation, traumatized from the situation, have lost people from the situation, whether that have been a brother, a sister, a son, a daughter, a mother, a father, a friend, a coworker. It's a large loss of life that measures far beyond 10 affected families.
Yep.
So I can't apologize enough. I think the fucked up part that pisses me off is that I lived in the Yonge Finch area for like 2 years, and I feel it's not even on no superhero shit. It's just being completely fucking selfish. Like, I saw a dude on the news saying he took his car and he drove beside the motherfucker that was knocking people down because he thought maybe dude was having a heart attack. And he beeped his horn at a guy like, yo, get off, fuck off the sidewalk. And the bodies were flying. One dude's recant was a woman falling down on the street and the bus stop freaking shattered. And the shrapnel and the glass from the bus stop just fell into the woman. Like her face, like parts of her body, like, that's fucked up.
That's
man.
sickening,
That's
sickening.
You see movies and, it's just, that's what bothers me. I think that's when I really ask myself the question, is the fact that I've been desensitized and, no fault of my parents or anything like that. It's like, their parents let you know, like, yo, make sure you're not in Jamestown past 11 o'clock at night. You understand what I'm saying? You kind of knew where not to make that wrong turn. So anything I seen after that was just out of my own curiosity and just being stubborn and hard-headed. But 1:30 in the afternoon, you're living your fucking normal life. You know what I mean? Like, you're not anticipating seeing a mass murder or anything like that. So what bothers me is knowing that some very good, innocent, genuine people will forever be desensitized, and maybe they need therapy to go through that, whether they need to, choose to cope with that. But, my heart's heavy, and, my condolences for real.
And Showtime even mentioning the guy that was driving beside the van, honking because maybe thinking the person fell asleep or maybe had an episode, or you never know, like a heart attack or whatever. That shows like our mentality as Torontonians, our type of resilience, our type of, nobody came to a conclusion. Like, some people might have thought, oh, it's just a terrorist, let me run as far away as possible as I can from the situation.
Yeah.
But no, somebody took it upon themselves to potentially put themselves at risk to help the people getting hit. And also, wildly as it seems, helping the person in the van thinking, genuine thoughts. Like, this, no way a person could be purposely hitting people. Yeah. Something has to be wrong with this individual in the car. So even that type of mentality is just a testament to the city and how we want to be as a community, helping others. And also too, Showtime mentioned situation that happened in Toronto with a guy named Sammy Yatim.
Yeah, on the streetcar. Yeah.
He was on a streetcar. I think he was dealing with some mental issues. He had a knife. He had the knife in the streetcar. But there's a lot of people in the streetcar, but he all let them out. He didn't harm anybody, and the police took it upon themselves. Well, one officer took it upon himself to gun him down when nobody was even on the streetcar. He had a knife. The streetcar was surrounded with a lot of police officers. So he was stabilized. He wasn't gonna be going anywhere. I felt like it was excessive for him to murder Sammy Yatim, and as a city, people rallied against that. But for this situation, I'm very proud of Officer Ken Lam. Salute to him, because
handling the situation.
He handled that situation immaculately. When it appeared that the individual who was driving the van, when they got him stopped and he was on the sidewalk, and Officer Lam was giving him instructions to go down on the ground, put your hands up, go down on the ground. The suspect, which I don't really want to give him any type of shine, but he was pretending like he was pulling a gun from his waist. He was begging for the officer to kill him. Suicide by cop, because he's a coward. He wanted to die that day.
Went the easy way out.
But thank you to Officer Lam for keeping his head, keeping his cool, not being afraid of the situation to just shoot him. I'm sure nobody would have been mad if he just shot him, but he had the presence of mind to keep him alive, to give him those orders to go down, to realize he just had a cell phone in his hand. It wasn't a weapon. He wasn't going to be harmed in this specific situation. So he handled that very well, and I'm glad he kept him alive, because that guy needs to be punished to the fullest extent. He can't get off easy. The easy thing to do would have been to shoot him, and then that would have been it. No closure, no nothing. That guy has to suffer the consequences. So shouts to Officer Ken Lam for.
And this is not me being hypocritical, man. I'm not on board for the loss of innocent human life ever. Let's be clear on my position and my stance. But with that being said, you only have two cheeks. So all this turn the other cheek shit, sometimes you're gonna be slapping my right cheek for the fourth or fifth time, bro. Like, that can't work in every situation. So in this situation, salute for not killing them, you know what I mean? Because there's some answers that need to be had, but let's be clear, I don't give a fuck about nobody that's a piece of shit. Yeah. Like loss for human life, let's not do that, man. Let's get the update on when your clock expires. I've lived in Toronto for my whole life, and let's be clear, they don't even report motherfuckers that jump in front of the train anymore. That's a regular thing.
It's a norm, yeah.
The TTC will just tell you there's a friggin' service delay.
Yep.
I remember one time going at a call center at Yonge in college. The first day, it's just 3 times in 1 week someone jumped in front of a fucking train. So the first time I went to work, I'm like, someone jumped in front of a train. Manager's like, alright, yo, sit down. Second time it happened in the week. I told my manager someone jumped in front of the train. Big, deep sigh. Sheldon, sit your ass down. Third time I said it, yo, enough of this shit. You're crying wolf. I'm gonna write your ass up for always being late. But after I had told him that, at least 9 other of my coworkers had walked in because they were delayed by the same fucking train for someone jumping in front of it.
Yeah.
So, I'm not throwing out suggestions. I'm just saying that, essentially, if you want to die, none of the motherfuckers knew who the fuck you were.
There's other means.
There's 10 innocent lives. There's a bunch of families. There's a whole city devastated because you woke up one day, brushed your teeth, had breakfast. Maybe you showered, maybe didn't. I don't fucking care. But you decided you want to die. And there's way too many other avenues for that shit than to friggin' rip a city apart. You understand what I'm saying? That's the shit that bothers me. But also, too, again, we got to salute the officer because, let's be clear, he knew the carnage that had happened. If not all 10 bodies, he knew a couple were hit at that point. So, To my understanding, he's coping through some other things. He has to, because it's a traumatizing thing. Let's be clear: a gun, a badge, a calculator, whatever the fuck you walk around with daily, that's gonna fucking affect you. But he had every right if he wanted to shoot that motherfucker. And as Sin said, not one motherfucker to be here tearing up for him unless it's from his genetic pool. But he didn't. Which even begs the question, like, why are motherfuckers dying like dogs in the States? Going and get Skittles, Sean Bell. You know what I mean? Like, whatever it is in the States, the restraint for law enforcement isn't there. This motherfucker just witnessed a dude do a mass murder and told him get the fuck on the ground. Like, pull out a black object, motherfucker. A lot of us that have seen a gun know what a gun looks like. Maybe this is in the States, he gets his wish.
Yeah.
This is Toronto, though. At the end of the day, just you want to do that, but that's another burner on his fucking machine.
Yeah.
If you're really trying to make your kill count for something, you don't put wasteless life on that. And that dude, who will remain nameless, is a waste of fucking life. Just for the disrespect towards the city of Toronto. That to me alone, this makes me know that you're not even like, you want to deserve your fair day in court. Like, sometimes as Canadians, we're just too fucking nice. Even in this situation, we're always gonna see the silver lining. But that just needs to be in the celebration of the 10 lives lost, the city being affected and being in mourning. We need not to give this guy no fucking religious belief angle. I don't want to hear none of that turn the other cheek, bro. Those lives can't be come back unless one of you motherfuckers is Doctor Strange, help us out.
Yeah.
Let's retract this time and get that situation fixed. Let's puncture his tire before he hits one motherfucker. Let's sideswipe his whip. But we can't do that. So those lives are gone forever. 10 gone, 16 in the hospital. Alright. So I don't have to give a fuck about it. I don't have to give a fuck about it.
No, I don't.
As a human being, no one needs to tell me that I'm wrong for saying I don't care about his life. He didn't care about none of ours around the table, how he affected that. I had to watch on the news and watch that. I'm watching grown men get friggin' recants breaking down on camera. Every nationality, whether you're brown, whether you're Asian, whether you're black, whether you're white. I didn't see somebody talk about it, try to act like they had an S on their chest. Everyone's affected. Everyone's pissed. And he came to our city and forever be known for that kind of fuckery. And once in a time, too, where we're dealing with this Bruce MacArthur motherfucker and all types of other weird shit. You know what I mean? We want to add that in the fucking mix as well. Honestly, man, salute to all the victims, and again, heavy fucking heart.
And one last thing too, because I know a lot of people are labeling this disgrace of an individual, referring to him, saying he has a mental health issue. I don't like when we just default that because maybe. Sorry, I don't really want to have to bring race into this, but maybe because an individual who does like a mass murder when he's of a certain race, he's more prone to have mental health. I don't want us to trivialize mental health. Some people are just evil. Some people have bad intentions. I don't know this individual, so let me not speak too much on his mental state, but that's a bad precedent to just dismiss these type of incidents as he had a mental health issue, right, so you can rationalize it. I don't really want to me, that's not rational. You're just giving him a scapegoat. He has no right to have that scapegoat.
Yeah, so let's be clear. Let me not make you fall on that sword. Let me just say it, for what the fuck it is. As you said, right? Like, some people just naturally have bad hearts and shit like that. And yeah, let's not give people unnecessarily the fucking crutch that don't deserve it, because people do need to go through certain screenings and procedures to be deemed fit to stand trial. So a lot of people that fucking cry out that card, they're deemed fit to stand trial. So at that point, when we're fucking making this excuse for people from the fly, we find out this person was fully in the right mind when they did this. They're just an evil motherfucker. And we gotta really just stop latching onto things now because they're gaining momentum. And and shout out to Bell Let's Talk, because I feel like initiatives like that,
yeah, that's a really very good initiative.
They mean like attention to these things, but we can't be out here screaming mental health for every person that does something so fucking disturbing. Us as decent human beings are like, yo, no normal person would do that. That person must have been off his meds. Right? It's just like when we're playing this whole devil advocate again. I'm not gonna get too deep in it. Let me just say my 1-2 piece and move before this gets into something different. But this whole Me Too movement, right? There are women that are directly affected by this that are finally mustering up the courage to speak out on this. But there are also a lot of opportunistic fucks that nothing ever happened to them, that they're just trying to really come out on some shit. What happened to Russell Simmons, right? Russell Simmons is clear to everything now. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to understand when someone has been taken advantage of versus somebody who didn't believe in their own type of characteristics and talents and maybe did something to fast track their own career, and maybe 20 years down the road looking down on it doesn't like who they feel like, looking themselves in the mirror and want to re-bring that up, something that was consensual, right? So we got to really stop just jumping on these things and just milking and beating them down to the ground, because mental health can't be the play for everything. Like, as Sin said, some people are just disturbed because they talk to the dude, he's like, he has no remorse, he do it again. That's not mental health, that's the fucking devil.
Just a sicko, man. And just kind of and one thing I definitely can't thank enough, and hats off go to all the first responders. We haven't really spent much time talking about them, and all the bystanders that were in the immediate area when things went down. Things could have probably got a lot worse than they already did. Just the city, is in a state of turmoil. The entire province right now, is in despair. And as we pick up the pieces, trying to find answers, the normal thing when something like this happens is people expect us, or the people affected by something like this, to be in a state of fear. But being someone that's grown up and lived in Toronto their whole life as well, we don't scare easy. And going to Showtime, going to the vigil where everything went down and just talking with people that were there, sharing stories, we band together. So each and every one of us, I think, are going to make each other stronger off of this. And this one sicko, this one psycho, this devil is not going to define us. So going forward, I think we're going to be all right. But it's going to take some time to get there. But I think just how Toronto is as a collective, we're going to be all right. And doesn't make things any easier. This podcast has been real tough to do today, this episode. We really appreciate just everyone listening and just taking the time to hear our point of view and our perspective, and just know that we're with you because we're going through it too. And
And I wanna say something that's extremely important. And again, like I'm not gonna be out here giving advice on something that I wouldn't do or haven't done myself. Shout out to the Officer Ken Lamb for able to apprehend the suspect, but also be clear, the civilians involving themselves made that situation maybe took a little pressure off the situation. And I want to suggest that, and this is someone who's actually done this, and mine just expired, that everyone get their first aid and CPR training, because I have done that through St. John's Ambulance, and they actually do have a scenario where you're driving to a cottage and all of a sudden you approach something, there's 7 bodies laying on the ground. Like, there's different, like someone got hit by a tree because someone's car's been out of control, so there's 7 bodies laying on the ground. And they teach you how to administer like something on that kind of scene, like who to deal with first, who bodies. Like, I honestly suggest that most trainings take 2 days, so you can do that on a weekend, but mine actually expired in 2015. But I suggest everyone, man, get your first aid and CPR training, do anything. Sometimes they have them for free too, but it's something to definitely have in your pocket, because I heard some people saying that they were calling out for more people that knew CPR and stuff like that. You can't say that coulda, shoulda, woulda, and that might have made a difference in loss of life, but it is good to have. I won't even lie to you, man. You learn a lot of things in those CPR first aid training. So St. John's Ambulance, they offer them, and a few other places to my understanding. You get a few community centers too sometimes. Just do your research, man. Everyone has a phone, everyone has Google, everyone has data. Knowledge is key. Keys open doors. And
definitely that can make a difference between life and death, seriously. So that's definitely a good suggestion.
Yeah, no doubt. Sid. Anything you want to say, man?
Just prayers to the family of the 10 victims, family, friends, prayers to the whole city of Toronto. We're all strong individuals. This situation doesn't define us. Let's just be positive, open-minded, Get to know people in your neighborhood. Get to know people that maybe necessarily you won't talk to on a regular basis. We're strong. We're not gonna let anybody come in here and throw us off and make us feel scared. We're never scared. We're not scary. Toronto is strong.
Yeah, I guess even like right now, you know what I mean, just because of stop the music, you know, we could have like a moment of silence, you know, with us end the podcast like that with a moment of silence. Again, rest in peace. Our thoughts and prayers with everybody affected. I mean, the families, the city. I mean, it's everyone that was down there that seen that day. And know we get through this. I see great things coming out of this. You know, shout out to the Raptors. They're playing for a whole country right now in the city as well. And, you know, united through sports, united through music, united through just love, peace, and unity. Like, that's what we do. So, you know, I want to, all of us at the Man Dem Podcast, like to have a moment of silence. And you can check us out on our regular stuff, you know what I mean? Maybe the week coming up, whatever it is. But for now, it's about Toronto and nothing else matters. So salute, and we'll have that moment of silence.